I haven't looked at the last time that I did a podcast, but I probably couldn't even tell you when that was because as of the last week, I discovered that I had about 7 years of podcasting content permanently deleted. 7 years of me talking and sharing from my journey permanently deleted. That was I'll call it now my first round of podcasting, my journey through imposter syndrome, the beginning of my entrepreneurship days back in 2016, 17, 18, when I really was in my first few years of that, the beginning stages of coaching, the beginning of my healing journey, navigating the loss of my father, navigating getting married, navigating just a lot of change in my life. I was doing a lot of that sharing in my podcast, Mindset with TJ Loeffler, sharing stories of people I've worked with. But really, that podcast, frankly, was more about me. And so as I saw that my podcast, Mindset with TJ Loeffler, had been deleted, and all of the 7 years of whatever was no longer available, I thought, well, this is an opportunity. And I spent a couple days thinking about what I wanted to communicate if I were to do this all over again. And the main thing is that it's not about me. And I wanted to help somebody. Now, in my last podcast, I believe, and I had a lot of feedback that I was helping somebody, many people, but I was really communicating from a place of sharing more about me. So today and here forward, my intention with this podcast is to help you with your success mindset. And what I'd like to do is walk you through breakthrough after breakthrough, just like I do with clients that I'm working with. And I want to bring clarity to your situation, whatever that situation may be. Now, there are definitely people listening. You're going to be at the place in the journey where this is going to resonate with you. It's going to make a ton of sense. And other people, you'll say, well, I've been there and I'm in a different place. But the good news is we all have something to learn, myself included, because it is imperative to approach life that way with something to learn. And the intention behind anything I'm sharing in your success mindset is going to be that it's timeless, principles-based clarity that you need. So when you think about timeless and principles-based, it's very helpful to get repetition and hear things more than one or two or even 3 times. In marketing, there's a rule: you need to show somebody, tell somebody 7 times before it even registers into their awareness. Forget about whether it sinks down in consideration or conversion. So if I share something that's timeless, principles-based clarity for you, it may be the 3rd or 4th time that you're hearing it, but it might not click until you hear it that 5th or 6th or even 7th time. So what I like to say is it's more about what you absorb rather than what you consume. And I want you to listen considering what you're absorbing. I'd much rather you listen to a 10-minute clip and you took away something than an hour-long diatribe where you just walk away and nothing happened. So I'm going to do my best to make these a little bit more succinct than I have in the past. And maybe it evolves, maybe it changes, and maybe I just have time to share for longer. But what I'd like to do is really focus on the things that you can be absorbing. So let's talk about a couple things that were on my mind as I was thinking about the first episode of Your Success Mindset, really Mindset 2.0 from my previous podcast. I was thinking about what is really important for your success mindset. And it's really simple. You have to understand what success means. And I've been on the journey of, success means purpose. Success means understanding, what you want out of life and getting it. And I've gone down the rabbit hole, especially being in personal development space for as long as I have. I really think it boils down to one word, a simple definition for success for people. And this has been my personal experience and my experience in working with many others. Success is really dependent upon progress. People want to know they're making progress. And one of the issues that people have when they're stuck, when they feel like they're stagnant, they are discouraged or disappointed, one of the issues is they're either not making progress, or the other issue is they don't know how to define it. And I'll just give a very practical example of what I do when I'm working with clients. One of the first things we do is we establish where they are and where they're going. Okay, so where are you today and where would you like to be? And one of the most important things is understanding what I list out and help you discover for yourself are the mile markers for progress. And we do that by a simple framework, 3 facts and 3 feelings. So you can do this yourself right now. Everyone has an idea or goal or place they'd like to be, and everyone has some understanding of where they are today. The gap, or what stands in between, that's where the real work can be done. But you have to understand where you are and where you're going. And so what you can do, very simply, take a sheet of paper. On the left side of the paper, if you think about a notebook, on the left side of that notebook, you're going to want to have 3 facts and 3 feelings of where you are today. And on the right side of that notebook, you're going to have 3 facts and 3 feelings of where you'd like to be. Now, let's just take a real practical example. I'm actually even going to pull up some notes here from a phone call that I recently had. And I'm going to tell you exactly what somebody experiences. Okay. Maybe in your career, you're feeling burned out, right? Where am I today? Feeling burned out. Maybe I'm feeling like I have nothing left to give at home. My energy is depleted. Okay. And maybe I'm feeling a lack of direction about where I'm going or what I can do next, despite having reached what in my field is a pinnacle of success. I feel as though it's empty to me. Okay, this is a real situation. This is a real challenge people are solving. And those are 3 examples of things that they feel. Now, factually, they don't have a lot of time with their family, factually. They would like to see changes to their physical health. And so an example of where they are today is factually, they're not in the best shape that they could be. And even to the point where it's declining and starting to show itself in ways that aren't healthy. So physical body, not doing well, even visually, that's a fact. And, factually, there's an unsustainable pattern of working to avoid other things. Okay. So these are 3 feelings that I listed in 3 facts. Now, where would you like to be? Well, that's a different perspective, but the same framework. Okay, so factually, you'd like to be more present and available with your family, maybe. Factually, you'd like to see a physical change in your body, be specific. And factually, you'd like to actually see the margin of availability that you have with your family increase because you're not using work as coping. Okay. Feelings wise, maybe you'd experience more peace, less mental chaos. Maybe you'd be able to enjoy your vacation. Maybe you'd be more patient as a parent or a wife or husband. Okay. These are examples of facts and feelings that a real person and many real people that I've talked with experience when we're first getting on the phone. And what it does in using this framework is it helps you understand, okay, here's my point A where I am today. Here's my point B where I'd like to be. Now I have an understanding of no matter what I'm doing, am I starting to see progress? Am I actually starting to see some of these facts and feelings appear in my life as I am taking steps and taking action? So when I think about where I'd like to be, the facts and feelings I listed out on the right side of my notebook, I want to be thinking about, okay, are the steps and actions that I'm taking leading me to these mile markers of progress? This is as simple as it gets when you think about success, because in 8 weeks of working together, over the course of those 8 weeks in boot camp, I launched a boot camp in 2017 and been running it ever since, called Live Your Legacy. And it's a private coaching program where we're walking you through an understanding of vision of where you want to be, identity, purpose, and practicals of goal setting, goal achieving. And the point of it is to help somebody understand how they actually see progress in their life when they're taking steps necessary. So we're activating, we're taking practical steps, but you're also looking at it going, wait, am I seeing progress? And throughout those 8 weeks, we're going back and we're saying, where were you when we started and where did you want to be? And are we seeing that gap close? And we'll know if it's closing that the steps that you're taking are contributing. And so that's one of the most powerful ways that somebody can feel success in their life is by simply observing progress. So the next time you think about success and what that means to you, maybe you're feeling discouraged about something, maybe you're feeling like you're stuck or stagnant, I just want you to think about the word progress. And when you think about the word progress, ask yourself, do I know what progress looks like? I'll give a totally different example. When I left Wall Street and I started in the world of entrepreneurship, I thought progress would look like making money. And I was extremely frustrated because you do not just leave and jump into entrepreneurship while you're going through your healing journey, your awakening, and family crisis and expect to make money quickly. And it exposed a lot of things, but one of the things that it exposed for me personally was the observation that progress looks different than just making money, especially when it comes to the beginning stages of entrepreneurship. So I had to redefine what progress looked like. And one of the most helpful things for me, and I work with some people who are in sales type roles, and my coaching has evolved from just like personal development, identity, and purpose to business development, and taking a lot of lessons that I've gained through entrepreneurship and helping others in their respective businesses, whether they have their own business or they're working in a sales capacity. One of the things that I tell them, and one of the things that really works for me, is instead of thinking about the end goal and the money, just think about what happens or the activity that you need to get to those things. And that's really where you want to be measuring progress and thinking effectively. So, for example, a really helpful one-liner that I give to people is conversations lead to conversions. Don't focus so much on closing. Focus on the conversations that you're having. And if you're sitting behind your computer doing nothing but checking your inbox, not having conversations, well, I can tell you that it is going to frustrate you And I can tell you it's probably affecting your results as well. So you want to be thinking about what are the activities that are going to contribute towards the goals that I have. That is going to be your mile marker or measurement of progress. And you will feel very successful if you are taking action on those activities. You will feel the progress that you're making. And it's even more powerful when you can measure it. So if it's more difficult to measure, sometimes it's helpful to use that framework, 3 facts, 3 feelings, if it feels more subjective. But when it comes to business, a lot of times it's very objective, and you can be very specific and measure what you're trying to grow. And one of the things, and I have the data for myself, when you increase the conversations, you will increase the revenue flow. So no matter where you're at in the journey, the principle is the same. The simple definition of success, this lesson, is progress. Thanks for listening. By the way, I'm going to start leaving a link in my podcast to sign up for staying connected over emails. I've got a coaching series called the Couch Coaching Sessions that I'll gift to you for signing up and staying subscribed. But more important to me is that you gain something from this and you do something about it. And if you got value, share it with somebody. Thanks so much.